Sunday morning, the church atmosphere was filled with worship. The choir sang passionately as members lifted their voices to God. Some cried quietly, some knelt before the altar, others closed their eyes in deep prayer. Then suddenly, the giant church doors opened. A young man walked in quietly. His name was Daniel, a wealthy businessman known across the city, rich, influential, respected, yet strangely humble. Immediately, whispers spread across the church. Is that Daniel? The billionaire? I heard he sponsors orphanages. They said he's deeply spiritual too. But Daniel ignored the attention completely. Instead, he bowed his head and worshipped sincerely. From the choir stand, Deborah noticed him. Not because of his wealth, but because there was pain hidden behind his calm expression. After the service ended, church members gathered outside, exchanging greetings while children ran around laughing. Deborah walked quietly with her Bible pressed against her chest when suddenly, "Excuse me, Sister Deborah." She turned and saw Daniel standing before her respectfully. "I hope I'm not disturbing you," he said calmly. "No, not at all," Deborah replied nervously. Daniel stretched out his hand gently. "My name is Daniel." Deborah smiled softly. "I know." They shook hands quietly. For a brief moment, neither of them spoke. Then Daniel smiled. "I noticed your sincerity during worship today." "Thank you," Deborah replied shyly. Daniel hesitated briefly before speaking again. "I was wondering, maybe someday we could have coffee together." Deborah's heart skipped instantly. Before she could respond, "Deborah!" Her friend Mariam hurried towards them. "Your mother have been looking for you everywhere." She suddenly noticed Daniel standing there and froze. "Oh!" Daniel smiled politely. "It was nice meeting you." Then he walked away calmly. Mariam immediately grabbed Deborah's arm. "Wait, was that the Daniel?" Deborah watched silently as he entered his car and drove away. That night, Deborah could not stop thinking about him. His voice echoed repeatedly in her mind. Even her mother noticed something was different. "What is wrong with you?" her mother asked suspiciously. "Nothing, Mama." "You've been smiling alone for hours. Tell me the truth." Deborah finally sighed. "A man spoke to me after church." Her mother sat upright immediately. "Who?" "Daniel." Silence filled the room. "The Daniel?" "Yes." "What did he say?" "He asked if we could drink coffee sometime." Her mother screamed excitedly. "Jesus of Nazareth!" A few days later, Deborah agreed to meet Daniel at a quiet coffee shop. At first, she expected arrogance, pride, luxury. But instead, she met a man carrying hidden pain. "People think money solves everything," Daniel said quietly. "Doesn't it?" Deborah asked. Daniel smiled sadly. "No, sometimes wealth only makes loneliness louder." Deborah listened carefully as he opened his heart to her. "Sometimes I sit in a mansion that feels emptier than the streets," he confessed softly. For the first time, Deborah saw the real Daniel, not the billionaire the world admired, but a wounded man desperately searching for peace. Unknown to them, someone watched secretly from another table. A woman named Vanessa, and jealousy had already filled her heart. The next Sunday, trouble arrived unexpectedly. During service, Vanessa entered the church angrily and walked directly towards Deborah. "So you are the choir girl Daniel replaced me with." Church members gasped immediately. "I don't understand what you mean," Deborah replied nervously. Vanessa laughed mockingly. "You think Daniel wants a poor church girl like you?" Before Deborah could speak, "That's enough." Everybody turned. Daniel stood behind them calmly, but his eyes were serious. "You will never disrespect Deborah again." Vanessa looked shocked. "So you're choosing her over me?" "Our relationship ended long ago," Daniel replied firmly. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "You'll regret this!" She stormed out angrily while whispers filled the church. Embarrassed and overwhelmed, Deborah hurried outside as rain began falling softly. Daniel followed her. "I'm sorry about that," he said quietly. "Your life seems complicated," Deborah replied emotionally. "It is. And dangerous. Maybe." Rain continued falling around them. Then Daniel stepped closer. "But meeting you has brought me peace." Before Deborah could respond, Daniel's phone rang suddenly. He answered calmly at first. Then his face changed instantly. "What?" Deborah became frightened. "What happened?" Daniel slowly lowered the phone. "My company just lost everything." Within days, Daniel discovered the painful truth. Someone close to him had betrayed him. Company accounts were emptied, investors disappeared, contracts were stolen. And behind everything was Vanessa. The pain nearly destroyed him. Daniel isolated himself from everybody, ashamed and broken. He believed Deborah would eventually leave too. But Deborah surprised him. Instead of walking away, she stayed. When Daniel lost everything, Deborah remained beside him. When he became hopeless, she prayed with him. "You should stay away from me," Daniel said one evening. "Why?" "Because I have nothing now."
Deborah looked directly into his eyes. "I didn't love your money." Daniel became silent. "I loved your heart." For the first time in years, Daniel broke down emotionally, and slowly, peace returned to his life. Months later, God restored Daniel completely, not only financially, but emotionally and spiritually. Soon, the church gathered once again, but this time not for ordinary service, this time for celebration. Daniel stood at the altar beside Deborah as tears filled many eyes. "Do you, Daniel, take Deborah as your wife?" the pastor asked. "With all my heart, I do." "And do you, Deborah, take Daniel as your husband?" "Yes, forever." The church erupted with joy. Mama Deborah cried happily. Mariam screamed excitedly. And as Daniel smiled at Deborah lovingly, everyone remembered where their story began. One Sunday morning, one handshake, and one invitation for coffee that changed their lives forever.
If you would like more video like this, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.